Hello, my name is Charina Dellar. I'm a producer from Northeast Michigan. We milk around 230 cows and we have an average cell count of between 40,000 to 50,000. I'm a firm believer in the PortaSCC milk test. We use it on a daily basis. And today I'm going to show you how to use the PortaSCC and in what circumstances that you may use it on your herd. So we'll start out. First thing that you need when you run a PortaSCC is a clean milk sample from your chosen cow. It doesn't have to be a sterile container. You can use a sterile container with a lid if you're going to run the test a little bit later, or you can just use a simple Dixie cup. A lot of times I use these. They're quicker, and usually I start my tests right away. So you start out with those, and the first thing you're going to do, there's two different tests that you can use. There's what's called a quick test, the PortaSCC quick test, and this test is started and finished in 5 minutes. And it has a color chart that you would compare your strip to. And then there's a 45-minute PortaSCC test, which takes a little bit longer, but it also has a color chart and a reader for exact results. I prefer to use the reader. I like to get the exact results, exact cell count on my cows. So I'm going to start today by showing you the 5-minute test. And they're basically the same thing, just a little bit different calculations of how much milk you need and such, and how much time, obviously. So you're going to start out with your strip. You'd rip your bag open, and there's 2 strips in each bag. And I would start out with one strip, start out with a milk sample, and thoroughly agitate your sample. And one thing to remember is that your milk has to be at room temperature. It can't be straight out of the cow, 98 degrees. It can't be straight out of the fridge at 36 degrees or whatnot. It has to be at room temperature. So you take your dropper and you stir up your sample and you squeeze some milk into it. You put 4 drops for the 5-minute test. So you go 1, let it absorb, 2, 3, 4. You're going to take your activator solution, twist off the cap, and you're going to also do 4 drops of the activator solution. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's as simple as that. Now you set your timer for 5 minutes for the quick test and set it aside. So while we're waiting for the quick test to finish, I'll show you how to do the 45-minute test, which is basically exactly the same thing. It's just a little bit longer test. So you take your strip out of your bag just like you did with the other one. Stir up your milk sample, your room temperature milk sample. Get some milk out. And for the 45-minute test, you only need 1 drop of milk on the well. Where with the 5-minute test, you needed 4. This one, you only need 1. Let the milk absorb into the strip. And then you take your activator solution, which is the same as what we did with the 5-minute test. But it's just a little bit different solution, and you're only going to need 3 drops. And each package comes with an insert that teaches you, shows you the directions and how to do it, so that you don't have to memorize how many drops. Now with this test, you're going to set it for 45 minutes instead of 5. And it seems, a 5-minute test would be more practical than a 45-minute test, which it is. The only difference is the 5-minute test does not have the digital reader that gives you the exact results, but you can get a pretty close result on the color chart. So when your timer goes off, this will be for the 5-minute test. You're going to want to take your color chart and make sure the color chart that you have says quick test. If you use the color chart for the regular test, it's not going to match up. So you take your sample and you compare it to the color chart, and it looks like we've got probably about a 250,000 cell count, somewhere between these two. It's a lot darker than the first one, but it's pretty close to the second one. So this particular cow in this particular quarter would have a 250,000 cell count, which would tell you that she has an infection of some kind. So, as you can see, the timer's beeping. That means the 45-minute test is done. So now, you're going to take your color chart, and you're going to take your strips. So here, we have two perfectly clear strips. So these, to me, would be less than 100,000. No color whatsoever developed onto the strips. And we have a third strip here that's showing a little bit of color. And I would say that this one is probably around the 250 range. Just got some blue, but it's almost a mixture between these two. So I'd say probably about 240, 250. And now, if you want a 100% accurate result, you can use the digital reader, which is right here. And it comes with what's called a blanking strip. So you turn it on with the power button, and you're going to get a code that says 543. When you get that 543 code, you take your strip. Your blanking strip has the blue dot on it. That's how you know the difference. You flip it over, and you put it in there. And once that code goes away and you get your drop right here that's blinking, that means put your milk sample in. So you take this out, take your milk strip. So this is the one that had the blue color on it. So let's see how accurate I was. And it'll give you a reader. 250. So I was right on the money with the color chart. So you move the decimal over 2 spots and you got 250,000 cell count. So let's try the other ones that developed no color. Low. So anything below 50,000, it's going to read low. Because obviously there's not an infection if a cow is below 50,000. So we got our third strip here, and that one is also low. So that's how accurate the PortaSCC is. It can give you a below 50,000 reading, and it can give you all the way up to 3 million reading. So if you're looking for something a little bit more exact and more precise, the PortaSCC is definitely a good choice.